don't know nobody on this road that can save your soul. Almost lost control now. Tell me what you need in a friend and now. Pray that we endure to the end again. I'm just saying that I'm here for you. When the world turn against you, I'ma be with you. Got my sword in my hand, you can count on me. I won't run and hide, fight mightily.
Waiting on your house shot. See the Jacob, I'm the apple of my father's eye. I learned the truth for who I was and it made me cry. If I don't keep the laws of Yah, then I'm gonna die. Living curses, but I'm edifying in my verses. Prepare the hearses for the heathens who be steady learning.
Kala Yahweh, Bashem Mashiach, Momalak Yahushai. All praise to the Most High God. Yahweh, do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Mashiach Yahushai. Welcome back in the third week of Manna Mondays. Manna Mondays, giving a pure edification of the word through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Today we're gonna tackle something, y'all, that's serious. You know, something that we see going on a lot. I myself try to make sure, Lord willing, that I don't fall into this spirit as well. Romanticizing the past, looking back on the past and wishing and hoping that you can go back into the times of old, right? You can go back into the past times, the past follies, reflecting too much of the things and the ways of the world. So we're going to examine a couple of precepts and get into a couple of situations and accounts where we see our forefathers and foremothers falling into that same era, right? So you definitely want to tap in and tune in, Lord willing, to this Manna Mondays. We're going to start off with Ecclesiastes 7 and 10. It says, "Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this." This is a warning on reflecting too much on the past. Not reflecting on the past in the sense of the things that were written aforetime for our learning, but reflecting on the past in terms of getting caught up in past follies, reflecting on the so-called good old days, how it used to be before you came into this truth and righteousness. You want to watch out on getting caught up in that spirit, right? You want to watch out on getting caught up in that spirit, right? So we're going to get Isaiah 43 and 18, and I want to get this in the NLT. Back to Isaiah 43 and 18 in the NLT. Bam. Isaiah 43 and 18 through 19 in the NLT says, "But forget all that. It is nothing compared to what I'm going to do." Now, you don't want to be in a spirit and where you're reflecting on even too much on your past errors. You know, that could get you into a spirit of woe is me, right? And letting your sins weigh you down. You also don't want to let your iniquities raise themselves up. So, but forget all that. It is nothing compared to what I'm going to do. Hashem Yahushua. For I am about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wasteland. And we know that the Most High God has the power to renew your spirit. So no matter what you've been through in the past, obviously we know, like, going into blaspheming the Holy Spirit and things of that nature, right? Taking the mark of the beast. There's certain things that are unforgivable, but you don't want to be caught up in that mind frame of just saying, you know what, I sinned in error, right? I'm always going to be a sinner. Once a sinner, always a sinner, and deal with it. You don't want to be in that mind frame. You want to realize and you want to harp on the grace and the mercy of the Most High God. Now, does that mean that you should still be sinning willfully because of the Most High God has given grace and mercy? And we know the answer to that. Don't get the classic. Hebrews 10 and 26, which says, for if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sins. So you don't want to be in the mind frame of where you just like, look, I sinned. It is what it is. I'm going to keep sinning. It's too late for me. And the Most High, through the Spirit and through His grace and through His mercy and through His long suffering and through His forbearance, can bring you out of that lifestyle, out of that mind frame, right? So you don't want to be constantly turning back to the ways of the old, your error and in the error of your ways, and foolishness and madness and the pride, right? And all of the things, the strongholds, because a lot of us deal with a lot of strongholds. And oftentimes your strongholds are things that keep you presently tied to your past, right? They keep you presently in this day, age, and time tied to your past. So you want to be able to take account and take an inventory through the spirit of those strongholds, and really through the spirit of sincerity, beg and cry out to the Most High to not give you over to those strongholds. Because it's one thing to be dealing with strongholds, it's another thing for the Most High God to turn you over to a reprobate mind where you're finding comfort in those strongholds. And brothers and sisters got a lot of different strongholds. You might have strongholds of, addiction, whether that be some type of drug, right? Tobacco, which is a drug. Now, your stronghold may be alcoholism. Your stronghold may be running back to that relationship that is not healthy for you, but it's comforting to you because it's familiar with you. A lot of strongholds are things that go back to being, things that are familiar to you. And you don't want to find yourself in a place or in a situation where you literally are giving yourself over to those strongholds, and those strongholds are causing you to backslide, ultimately, to go back to a place where the Most High God has brought you from, right? Let's get Philippians 3 and 13, right? I actually want this in the NLT as well. And we hear this classic about being able to do all things through a Mashiach woman like O.F.I, and that even goes into not backsliding, not being a backslider, not giving up, because it says in the book of Proverbs, if thy faint in the day of adversity, thy strengtheth more. And a lot of brothers and sisters, they battle in their mind, and they lose the battle because they give up, right? Or they lose the battle because they're trying to do it on their own accord. They think that they can do this without the Most High. You can't. You can't. You got to surrender everything. You got to surrender it all. And surrendering is peace, right? Because when you're in the mind frame of surrendering, you're giving up your own desires, your own carnal desires, and you're giving them over to the righteousness and to the power and to the spirit of the Most High, right? When you're giving up and you're surrendering over to the world, you're actually doing the opposite. You're doing the contrary. You're now giving your livelihood and your well-being and your potential to the enemy. So there's two folds of surrendering. Are you surrendering to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai? Are you surrendering your thoughts? Are you surrendering your intentions? Are you surrendering your actions? Or are you surrendering over to the ways of the world, right? Philippians 3 and 13, it reads, no, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. Now, our beloved brother Paul isn't saying he's forgetting the past in the sense of just throwing out the whole past as far as the things that are profitable, the history, the accounts, what has been written aforetime for our learning. But he's going more into not harping on so much of your shortcomings, not harping on the times that you went off, not harping on your past situations, your past experiences, where you having them overthrow your judgment, and now you just sitting there all day like, man, well, you know what? Before I came into this truth, I could do A, B, and C. Right now, I'm just here, just reading the Bible all day. Can't be in that type of spirit. You have to be thankful that the Most High God has brought you from the places in which He's brought you. And this is still isn't, your story isn't fully written yet, in the sense of from your perspective. Now we know that the Most High God created the end from the beginning. So in that sense, from the Most High's vantage point, everything is already written. But on your day-to-day walk in His journey, you know, man doesn't have power to retain the spirit. We see that in Ecclesiastes 8 and 8. We were just going over that in camp on the Shabbat, right? You have to be able to separate your thoughts from, let me say it this way. You got to be able to discern what is a carnal thought and what is a thought that's moving through the spirit, right? And press on forward, all right? Forgetting the past and look forward to what lies ahead, because oftentimes when you're just reflecting on the past, a lot of the times it goes in because you missed that lifestyle. There's something about that past that you're still holding on to, right? And that's why certain things are called strongholds. And I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which the Most High, through Mashiach Yahushua, is calling us. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that heavenly gift. We're looking for that prize. We're looking for that, well done, my good and faithful son. Well done, my good and faithful daughter, right? That's what we're looking for. And when you think about, when you in the midst of the race and you pushing on, it's all about endurance. A lot of brothers and sisters fall short because they don't have endurance. They can't endure the temptation. And I myself have been victim of that, you know, having to have the spirit and having to maintain the spirit and be in the mind frame and be willing to, you know, a lot of people say be willing to be vulnerable. But at the end of the day, it's like, how could you be vulnerable with the Most High? You really think about that. In the world, people say, well, you know what? I want to be vulnerable. You know, I want to be able to open up my feelings to you. I want to be able to open up my emotions to you. I want to be able, and we're talking in different forms of relationship. But with the Most High, you don't got to be vulnerable. Because let's get into this word really quick. Vulnerability. Vulnerability. The quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. Now really think about this context, right? When we say, or when people say, like, look, you don't have to be vulnerable with the Most High. You don't, because with the Most High, if you doing what you're supposed to do, woman like Yahushua, why do you think that you need to be exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed? The Most High is not here to harm you. The Most High, as an Israelite, for the Israelites, the Most High is seeking to bring you, you know, a gift, to bring you that expected end. You follow what I'm saying? And these are the things that you want to harp on. You don't want to be in a mind frame of where you think, well, you know what? I trusted the man before, you know, I trusted such and such before, and it ended all bad for me. And it just ended all bad. You got to be able to understand that there's difference between trusting man versus trusting the Most High. So you can't keep looking back at all of your past vulnerabilities and bringing those things here into this truth, because this truth, it's a different level of righteousness, right? And we want to keep pressing on to the end of the race to receive that heavenly prize. And you're not going to be able to get that heavenly prize, and you're not going to be able to run in the race with sincerity, with swiftness, with efficiency, with endurance, if you keep looking back. It's actually proven that when you even running in a physical race and you looking back, You are actually decreasing your performance. Your stride is different, right? Your posture, the exertion of the force and the speed that you can pick up is different than when you looking back. Your body is trying to move in this direction, but you trying to look back. It's actually contrary to your momentum. So you don't want to spiritually be caught up in that same thing and find yourself moving in a way that's not conducive and in a way that's not beneficial to, you know, this walk in this truth and this righteousness, right? So we're going to get Luke 9 and 62, right? You don't want to be looking back. And this is the red letters words of Yahushua. He said, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Now you got to think, when you putting your hand to the plow, that means you start to do the work, right? You're starting to put in work by Shema Mashiach, woman like Yahushua. Whether that's planting seeds, whether that's watering them, whether that's being watered, whether that's tilling, right? You're actively doing the work. And now you start doing the work. And while you're doing the work, you're overthrown in your mind and in your thought. And now you begin to think about all of the things that are contrary to the work, or all of the things that you used to do, right? Or the things that you used to do with fulfilling your time. And a lot of that goes back to your frame of mind, you know, being able to cast down wicked imaginations and desires and lusts. And we all have them. Any man, any brother, any sister to tell you that they don't have lust, that they have to overthrow in their mind, hey, I'm led to believe they're lying, straight up and down, you know. And reflecting on those lusts and things of that nature can have you in a situation where now the Most High gives you over to those desires and those lusts, that reprobate mind, because you don't want to retain the Most High God in your mind, right? And I think that's in the book of Romans, right? Where it says, because they retain not God in their mind. You follow what I'm saying? They were given over, you know, to their lust and things of that nature, right? And we don't want to be given over to a reprobate mind, right? By reflecting on the past. What is that? Romans 1:28. All right, bam. Romans 1:28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Like, you don't want to be in this type of mind frame where you're so reflecting as you're so caught up in your meditation. I was just going over this with my children today in terms of meditating on the word and meditating on the commandment. And if you're not actively occupying your mind with the things of righteousness, your mind is going to be occupied by things of wickedness or things of the world. That's why the Most High teaches us we can't serve two masters, right? Because when you begin to reflect on things, those thoughts are seeds that are planted in your mind. And the more that you spend time with those thoughts, the more that those thoughts start to grow and take deep root. And when they take root, from the abundance of thoughts yields man's actions. So you don't want to be caught up in not retaining the Most High God in your thoughts and in your mind, not retaining the Most High God in your actions and your intentions, you know? Because the Most High God, he's not going to just look at your intentions. He's going to look at your actions. It says, you know, the Most High God obviously doesn't just look at the outward man and outward appearance, right? But he looks at your intention. And doesn't it teach us that the word is a discerner of intentions and thoughts in the hearts of men? So, you know, you want to definitely try to stay in the spirit and walking in the spirit so you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. And a part of that, fulfilling the lust of the flesh, is turning back to your old ways. Backsliding. you know. And a lot of us, through the Spirit and power of the Most High, have run this race so far up a hill, right? A steep hill. You follow what I'm saying? Overcoming all different type of obstacles by Shema Mashiach, Woman Yahushua. So, you know, you be damned if you want to fall back down that hill. You might break your neck. And you might not ever be raised back up to obtain this knowledge and this position and this truth. And that got to be scary, man. Think about Lot's wife. We're going to get into some of those accounts as well. Think about Lot's wife, right? Let's get to 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. The book of 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 17. It says, therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach Yahushua, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And this is what it's about pressing forward. That old man, that old woman that used to be an adulterer, whoremonger, drunk, a thief, a liar, a reprobate, an addict, a whore, damn debased, lazy, slothful, scoffing, you know what I'm saying? Just a wicked person. When the Most High God brought you into this truth and brought you into this light, and as the Most High God continues to bring you into this light, those old ways you got to shut off, brother. You got to shut them off, sister. Even a snake sheds his skin to grow. And surely you much better than a snake, right? So when you think about it, it's like being that new creature, what does that really mean? Are you exemplifying? Are you demonstrating? Are you representing the attributes of the new you? Or are you still looking back into the windows of the past, right? Are you still looking back to the windows of the past, being romanticized by what you used to do? Are you laying up late at night in the bed reflecting of all of the things that you used to do in the world? And reflecting on them in a sense of saying, damn, I wish I could go back there. You know, well, maybe just one day a week, I'm gonna fly it out to the clubs. You know, and I'm not saying that it's against the law to be in the club, but what spirit are you moving in? And do you want to put yourself in that position? You know, it's a lot of temptations out there. Were you that person? A spirit got on me the other day where I'm dealing with a business matter, right? And in the midst of dealing with this particular business matter, with somebody who I used to be in business with, we don't really see eye to eye now. But a spirit jumped on me like, dang, if this brother would have did this to me in the world, I probably would have tried to take his head off. And then I had to rebuke even that thought. Like, brother, why is you even thinking about that? Where's the grace and the mercy at? What if the Most High God took your head off by everything that you did, or all of the things in which you have done? So, you know, you even got to watch subtle thoughts that I had you reflecting on how you used to be or how you used to handle things, right? Hey, this isn't that. You're a new creature. Are you handling these things according to the precepts, according to, hey, they say basic instructions before leaving earth? I know, family, y'all heard that before. Like, are you handling things according to how the word says handling them? Are you handling things according to leaning to your own understanding? It's a difference. Like, are you going to follow the blueprint, or are you trying to make your own? Or are you following your past footsteps and retracting them, going back to the past, right? It says, behold, all things are become new. All things are of the Most High, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yahushua Mashiach, and have given to us the ministry of reconciliation. And a big part of this is, what are you reconcile with. Let's get the reconciliation word, right? A reconciliation, because it starts with the prefix re. All right, re. And look, I want to do this real quick. Meaning of the prefix re. It says the prefix re generally means again, back, or a new. It indicates repetition or a return to a previous state. In other words, adding re to a word often signifies doing something again, reversing an action, or returning to an original condition. You don't want to return to the original condition that you were in when you came into this truth. You don't want your reconciliation to be being reconciled back to the old you, to the pre-truth you, to the truth, to the you before you came into this glorious light, to the you when you was walking around in darkness, to the you when you sought after all of the vain imaginations and the wicked inventions of your heart and of the world. You don't want to be reconciled back to that person, right? To that wicked brother, to that wicked sister. You want to be reconciled according to the gospel of reconciliation back into the fold of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, back as a righteous, hopeful elect Salakia on this earth. That's what you want to be reconciled back into, right? When we go to reconciliation, it's the Greek word, I think this is how you say it, katalege, I believe that's how you say it. Reconciliation, look. Exchange, restoration, look. Restoration to the divine favor. Making an atonement, right? A reconciliation. Restoration to the divine favor. That's what you want to be restored back to that divine favor. You don't want to fall into the ways of destruction and be reconciled back into the ways of the world. Now you're getting stressed. What did you used to do when you used to get stressed? Hey, when I used to get stressed in the old me, I used to go get high. All up the damn so-called weed, man, and roll up. I can't take my so-called stresses and let them bring me back into strongholds of my past. I can't be, Lord forbid, I get reconciled back into that lifestyle, back into that thought process, back into thinking those things are my security and that those things are profitable to me, back to dealing with those former situations in a like manner. You don't want to be reconciled and backsliding into that old person that you were. You want to be reconciled, what does it say? And have given to us the ministry of reconciliation. Now, when we went into that reconciliation, being brought back into divine order, that's what we want to do. That's how we want to be, right? With this Matthew 6:34. So the book of Matthew chapter 6:34 says, take therefore no thought for tomorrow, for tomorrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. And you know what? I want to get this in the AMP. I want to get this in the AMP, right? An amplified version, right? In the AMP, it says, right here in the AMP, right here. Matthew 6:34. So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. A lot of times, brothers and sisters find themselves in some sticky situations because they're not trusting in the Most High and they're worrying about tomorrow. Now, when it says take no thought, that take no thought goes into don't be worrying. It's a difference between planning, right, And we say Lord willing because we know everything is up to the Most High, but it's a difference between having plans and worrying about what may or may not take place tomorrow. Giving yourself over to that spirit of worry, that spirit of heaviness. Now you making moves based out of worry, and worry really goes into fear. And doesn't the scriptures teach that the Most High has not given us over to a spirit of fear, but given us a sound mind, right? So don't let fear cause you to backslide. Don't let fear cause you to be in a frame of mind as to where you believe and where you earnestly are worrying about something that might not even happen. And now you making decisions prematurely based off of fear, based off of stress. Why are you so stressed for it, brother? Why are you so stressed for it, sister? Right? Are you stressed over finances? Are you stressed over relationships? Your damn whole life is out of order. Whatever it may be, you got to give it up to the Most High God and examine yourself. Some things be trials and tribulations. Some things be judgment. And you got to pray to the Most High God to give you the discernment between each of those. And regardless of not whether you know if it's judgment or if it's trials and tribulations, it still shouldn't change the fact that you should be pushing forth change. You should be asking the Most High God, look, Father, hey, what do I need to do, right? Father, examine me. And Father, give me the strength and repenting consistently. Because if you don't have a spirit of repentance on you, you're going to be puffed up and you're going to think your pride, and it's like you're going to think your pride can get you destroyed. And a lot of times too, brothers and sisters fall into diverse temptations and start to backslide because of pride. You want to do things your way. Look, I've always done them this way. I'm going to continue to do them this way. Or you don't want to hearken fully to the truth, right? Or you're misled by your, it doesn't say many are misled and overthrown by their own vain opinion. Because you want to rock this the way you think. You want to lean to your own understanding. Where has that got anybody? What in chaos? What in trouble? What in discord? Destruction is knocking at your doorstep. If you got to weigh it in the balance, do you want to go the way of righteousness that the Most High God tell us? Or do we want to keep leaning onto our own dusty understanding? Right? But yeah, a big thing in this truth is not giving your mind over to heaviness, right? Not just, you constantly worrying and worrying and worrying. Where's your faith, brother? Where's your faith? Where's your faith, sister? Hey, the children in this thing, hey, you got to think about how children have faith in their parents. And that's why O.F.I taught that we should be like onto the children and depend on our Heavenly Father. When you're a child, right? And now we know everybody has different situations. Some people didn't grow up with their biological parents. Some people grew up in a one-parent household. Some people grew up, whatever your situation may be. But I'm just making a general similitude. Like when I look at my daughters and my sons, like they don't come home and they don't look and expect not to be fed. They don't expect to not be clothed. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh. They have an earnest expectation that their parents, that myself and my wife, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh provides, that we're going to provide for them. They're not worrying about tomorrow. They may ask what they're going to eat tomorrow, but they're not worrying, thinking that we're not going to be able to feed them. Ba'ashem Yahushua. So think about that. We shouldn't be worrying to the point that now you lose the faith in the Most High. You think that everything has to be in your hands. You don't want to be in that type of spirit, and you don't want to be in that type of mind frame, and it's easy to get there too if you're not moving in the spirit, y'all. And I've been there before. Right? You don't want to be, let's get this Genesis 19 and 15. Let's get this Genesis 19 and 15. Right? You don't want to be looking back like Lot's wife. Here it is. The Most High God has brought you into this truth. Here it is, this Most High God, and showed you magnificent mercy and wonder. You know, when we talk about miracles, it's a miracle, y'all, that we're not out here in the ways that we used to be. It's a miracle that you ain't in the strip club no more. Stripping or playing the strippers, right? It's a miracle you're not addicted to whatever that addiction was. It's a miracle. You know, I honestly used to tell people, I'm gonna smoke weed, Tom. I thought I was gonna be on some Snoop Dogg type stuff. Smoke weed forever. I wasn't saying not, but I'm just saying, you smoke weed forever. I'm gonna get high. Hey, I want it. There's so many things that I just, in my mind, in my wicked mind, I just really thought that I was gonna do forever. And wickedness, it's a miracle that the Most High God brought me out of those things. You know what I'm saying? It's a miracle that I don't think that I'm a damn Egyptian pharaoh. I really used to think that. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We them Egyptians. Man, I'm so ashamed of a lot of the things that I've done in my past. It's just, man, for the Most High to bring us out of that darkness to now. Like, you don't want to be like Lot's wife. Here he is saving them from wickedness. But sister want to look back. She want to look back. Why did she look back? Because she missed. She was already in her mind thinking about all of the things that she was accustomed to on the left-hand side that she was still tied to back there. Think about that. Is that you? You got that spirit of Lot's wife? Is this Genesis 19 chapter through the spirit really talking about the spirit that's on you right now? You got to examine yourself. And you got to be honest with the Most High. Right? Because he already knows. And call out, if this is the spirit that you got, and the Most High, you got to call out, Abba now with Yahweh, hey, Father, hey, remove this spirit from me. Give me the strength. I pray for strength a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because when I first came into this truth, it's something that I was battling with. Like, okay, I'm just going to say it. I wasn't dependent all the way on the Most High. I thought like I could be in this truth. I could really manage my own growth, for lack of a better word. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't give it all over to the Most High. And I still got ways now that I'm still trying to be built up. Because, you know, in this truth, you don't never hit a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to be like this Lot's wife. Let me get into this account. The book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 15. And when the morning arose, then the angel tasted Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife, Selaki, and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city. And this is still going on today, man. All of the iniquities in the city, you know, lust, concupiscence. There's so many ways to go off. It's millions of ways to go off in this world. And you got to think, for the Most High God to send angels. And look, key words. Then the angels hasten Lot. That means they was like, look, hey, hurry up. Let's get out of here. Arise. Take thy wife, take thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity, the sins of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, Yahweh being merciful unto him. And you got to see the mercy. Because of a lot of the times, no pun intended, but a lot of the times, or oftentimes, we linger. That's that hesitation spirit. You got to think the Most High God, through his mercy, sent angels, sent messengers to Lot, but Lot still did what? Lot still lingered. He was still thinking. It was like, brother, what the hell is you thinking about? They telling you to hasten, and I want to go into this real quick. Where's that hasten? Look, it's like you're hastening right here. They hasten Lot to press, to be pressed, to make haste, right? To make haste and labor, to be narrow, to press, to hurry, to withdraw. So they telling Lot, hurry, bruh. Hurry. Or you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be consumed in the iniquity of this city. And look, and while he lingered. Now let's get into that word linger. Here they are telling him to hurry up. Well, he lingered. To tarry. To stay, to delay. Right? Lot, why the hell is you lingering on when the Most High has sent you messengers out of his mercy and hastening you to hurry the hell up? But you lingering, right? So look, the men laid hold upon his hand and upon the hand of his wife and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord Yahweh being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. Now, when you look at this through the spirit, they like, look, Lot, you ain't moving fast enough. And they hasten, they grab his wife, they grab his children, and they brought him unto the place. Are you lingering? Do you have the spirit that Lot had? Where you linger, you still thinking about where you are, as opposed to trying to progress and go in the place where the Most High God is. That place of safety, that place of refuge. Hey, he who abideth under the wings of the shadows of the Almighty, hey, that's protection. But are you still lingering in your thoughts of where you used to? Are you lingering in your thoughts of where you are though too? You know, of not wanting to move forward in His truth and be mightier. These are things we got to ask ourselves. Let's get to it. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. This is saying, look, when the Most High God brings you into the place, right, of protection and safety, right, you got to continue to get further and further away from those things that can destroy you. Because you got to think, they hastened and brought Lot outside of the city. But he said, look, even though he's outside of the city, he wasn't safe. He said, look, keep going, escape for thy life, go further. And I use it as a similitude about, like, oftentimes you may fall into backsliding because you haven't got far enough away from the strongholds that you have begun to overcome, right? You might have been delivered from A, B, and C, but you still hanging around people or hanging around situations that make you subject to those temptations of A, B, and C. And that might bring you back to get destroyed or to fall back subject to those things, those strongholds. It may cause you to backslide. Let's think about this. What is he really telling Lot right here? Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee. Right? Man, look, only focus on delivering. Don't focus on being reconciled or returning back to what's behind you. It's destruction back there. Don't even focus on that. You know what's back there. I'm telling you, I warned you. I brought you out of that situation. Focus on moving forward. Escape for your life. Neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain. Go to elevate. That's what he's saying. He's saying, look, this position that I got you in right now, I brought you out of immediate danger, but you're still in harm's way. You got to elevate now. You got to go to the mountain. You got to go to an elevated place that's there, that's not around here. Don't try to elevate yourself in the midst of the folly. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to be a light to everybody. I'm dealing with A, B, and C. Let's say I'm dealing with a damn, I'm dealing with a addiction. But you know what? The Most High brought me out of that addiction, but I'm still going to hang around everybody else who's still dealing with that same addiction. They actively getting high. I'm just sitting in the car. I'm reading the precepts though. They smoking, but what? Yeah, I'm being a light to them. That's madness. That's foolish. You want to escape for your life. Get to an elevated place. Lest you're gonna be consumed. Right? And Lot said unto them, "Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast shewed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die." Now look, Lot is being told what to do, but his mind is confused. The Most High, look, he's admitting that the Most High has magnified his mercy and saved him. But look, he's saying, but I can't go to the mountain lest some evil take me and I die. Brother, do you not realize the Most High just delivered you from ultimate evil and destruction, and he's giving you the commandment and telling you where to go to find that refuge, right? So oftentimes the mind, your own mind, can bring and wrought confusion to your situation, right? Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape hither. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And he said unto him, "See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, and I will not overthrow the city for the which thou hast spoken." Now the Most High God even showed him ultimate mercy in that, right? The Most High God told him where to go. Well, Lot said, look, I don't want to go there. Let me just kind of go over to this little city over here. And I'm led to believe the Most High God didn't overthrow that city just because of his mercy. But that's not what he told Lot to do. That's not the advice that he gave him. That's not the commandment that he gave him. Right? That's what he's doing. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of that city was called Zoar. The sun was risen up up upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of heaven. Right? Destruction. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Hey, you don't want to be caught up in the destruction. You don't want to be caught up in the wrath of the Most High God by still lingering around the wickedness. Now we know we're compassed about, in this land of our captivity and our oppression, right? Where there's wickedness all around us, but even in the midst of the wickedness, you got to find a way to separate yourself. You got to find a way to separate yourself, right? Because if you don't find a way to separate yourself, hey, it might be OVA for you, right? Reading on. But his wife, here's the point, looked back from behind him and she became a pillar of salt. And she looked back. She was trying to backslide. She missed what was back there in Sodom and Gomorrah. She missed that, man, that wicked environment. The sodomy, the evil, all the wicked lust, that lifestyle. She missed it. And the Most High God told her, don't look back. And she became a pillar of salt. You know? And that's heavy when you really think about it. That's real heavy when you think about it. So, you do not want to be like Lot's wife and turn it into that pillar of salt. You want to get a pillar of rest. Doesn't say in one of my favorite precepts, right? Bam, Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. Hey, this ain't our rest. It's polluted here. You don't want to be stuck in the mind frame and stuck in a position where you thinking that this is your rest. So much so that you looking back at where the Most High God brought you from, and you are yearning after going back there. Right? You looking at returning back to your vomit. Like that dog that threw up that damn dog food, and now he going back and eating it again. We gotta be better than that, y'all. So all praise y'all by Shema Mashiach, woman like Yahushai, on this mighty, 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 mighty day that the Lord Yahweh has made. Most High willing, this lesson, this Manna Mondays, was edifying. Like, comment, share, right? All praise to the Most High God, Yahweh Shema Mashiach, woman like Yahushai. And I'll see y'all next Monday, Most High willing, at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Manna Mondays. All praises. All Allah Yahweh. Come on, my show. Come like that. Come here, Charlotte.